SHEIN's supplier code of conduct says that suppliers are told they need to arrange working hours responsibly. What does that mean?
I think working hours and pay and so on, they're all part of the supplier code of conduct, and it's very important for the suppliers to adhere to whatever the legal requirements.
What do you mean when you say to arrange working hours responsibly? What does it mean?
All the working hours need to comply with the laws and regulations where the suppliers are based, and also they need to be compensated and paid appropriately.
How many hours a week do you think is an appropriate number for a shop floor worker at a supplier for SHEIN?
I don't think it's for me to judge what's appropriate. What we're saying is
you are the general counsel for Europe, the Middle East, and the whole of Africa. So I probably would say it probably is appropriate in your elevated senior position within the organisation to make comment on what an appropriate. Would you say 50 hours a week is?
I think in different countries there are different maximum hour and rest period and so on, detailed provisions, and the laws do vary in different countries, and there are also International Labour Organization standards. So what we require the suppliers to do is to comply with our code of conduct and policies, and also to ensure they comply with the local laws as applicable.
So in 2022, a Channel 4 investigation found that a manufacturer being used by SHEIN in China had employees working 18-hour days with 1 day off a month. And in May of last year, a BBC report, a fresh report, found that some workers were still working 75 hours a week. Is that appropriate? And do you think those two specific instances agree with your supplier code of conduct?
Well, I don't recognise the specifics of those what you just described. As mentioned, the working hours and the overtime and the rest, those are all set out as requirements for the suppliers to adhere to, and it's definitely part of what's being audited. And for suppliers, I believe there are suppliers that had been terminated due to a combination of factors, including excessive overtime.
You talk about suppliers being terminated then, and you made comment to supplier termination, immediate termination violation was the words you used. But your sustainability and social impact report says that if one of your suppliers is caught to be paying below the minimum wage, it, and I quote, requires immediate improvement. Surely paying lower than the minimum wage doesn't just require improvement, it requires immediate termination.
So the immediate, I believe paying below the minimum wage is one of the immediate remediation violations, i.e. they need to fix it within 30 days.
I quote from your sustainability and social impact report, which says requires immediate improvement. That's the wording.
That's why it's one of the immediate remediation violations, i.e. if they don't fix it within 30 days, then they will be terminated.
Would you not argue that breaking the law by paying less than minimum wage doesn't just require fixing it, but requires saying this is a business that we no longer want to work with, and so they should be terminated?
So first of all the suppliers do need to comply with the laws and regulations as applicable to them, and if they breach the law, there will be consequences.
Well, there aren't, though, are there? Because you're happy, and as you've said, that you're happy that if one of your suppliers breaks the law by paying below minimum wage, you think they just need to fix it. You don't think that an appropriate sanction is to say you're not appropriate to work with us. Do you think the correct message to give across is that SHEIN does not think that breaking the law as a supplier requires you to not work with them anymore? Is that appropriate?
I think breaking the law is there will be consequences that's associated with breaking the law. From an ESG standpoint, and it's commonly accepted principle generally, is because there are many very severe impact on many people, as I mentioned a little earlier, there are very serious matters that we have moved into immediate termination violations for actions where if the suppliers can remediate, because that's also about impact to the society in general, to the employment opportunity, to the individuals who are employed by that employer. This supplier will certainly be subject to very severe scrutiny and they will be one of the higher risk profile suppliers, will be subject to more strict audits to ensure that does not happen again.